Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nath.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
Wait, it's 2 minutes over. No. All right. I think. Oh, hi, Sam. How are you? And how is everyone? It's the first game, first round. It's the real stuff. It's not the practice 0 round or opening. Oh, God, I hate the opening round. It was made worse, I understand, by the things that happened. But of course, I'm fully supportive of having a round in Brisbane. I just don't get it why it has to be the opening round, which is when we all want to watch 8 games of footy or 9 games of footy. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. True. Well, I have a sister up there. Yeah, I haven't heard. Wow. Closeness. Well, hey, well, I texted before, but I haven't heard anything back. Yeah, that's right. She could be dead. But anyway, it's been lovely knowing her. She's a beautiful sister. No. Well, her husband's a Richmond supporter, so, how much do we care? Oh, no. That's on you. Can they hear me? So anyway, I was walking around the street today. I don't know. Do you want me to check some things? Or...
Hello. There we go. Sorry, folks.
Oh.
We had a great conversation.
We'll start again.
Just missed entirely because I'm a noob and forgot to unmute myself. Hi. Welcome to the Don Pod.
Can I just quickly pop in with what do you always call me when I do something like that?
Boomer.
Yep.
I mean, look, the fact we got this far is probably further than you would get.
Hey, whoa.
Let's be real. You would have heard Nathan. I was saying how...
I wouldn't know how to set up the system at all, Sam, so let's not...
I know. I'm saying they would have heard what you said. They only heard you, though. So I was just going to reiterate that I was just saying, if you're up in Queensland, southeast Queensland, that was affected by the hurricane, hope you're doing well. Nathan has a sister up there, and he was being a bit mean, which you would have heard.
I was being funny.
Thanks for the comments, guys. That helps, because I would have recorded the whole thing if it was just me and you, Nath, and we would never have known.
A little bit funny, wasn't it?
Oh, shit.
Oh, well, it's good to be back.
Anyway, footy, hey? I'm a bit flat about tonight. I don't know about you.
Oh, no,
Are you
I'm not a bit.
It's just because no one's expecting a close game. We're just expecting... I'm well aware that makes it better if Richmond win. We can all laugh a little bit harder at Carlton.
God, there's no way Richmond win, though.
I know, but, youthful exuberance, you never know.
Yeah. I'm just more excited to watch footy. I mean, there's from a fantasy and Supercoach perspective, there's a few players. We've got Sam and I on a draft.
Oh yeah, actually, I need to plug that.
Oh well, you better. Oh well, there's our draft league as well as the other one. I hope you've looked at your team. Make sure all your players.
Yeah, I'm all good for now. What I was going to say is, if you do want to join us for Supercoach, we have got 2 spots left in our Don Pod League. And the league code is 478023. Just a bit of fun. We'll chat about it every week. Not too much, but something to chat about anyway in the pod. Nathan fancies himself with this stuff. So.
No, that's not. I really like it. I often disappoint myself.
Yes, and do you know why that happens? Because you pick too many Essendon players.
Well, because I love them, Sam.
You pick with your heart, not your head. Anyway.
Oh, that's... Yep. Anyway.
Shall we crack into Essendon Hawthorn? Round 1, I'm so grateful I don't have to think about round 0 anymore. Round 1, Essendon Hawthorn, Friday night at the MCG, arguably more anticipated than Carlton Richmond. Sorry, Richmond.
By us, anyway.
By us.
I love there's a Friday night game. That's exciting. Us back on the tally on a Friday night.
Well, we have a lot of Thursday night games this year. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Well, I did look at that, but I also think the last few years, because we've been pretty ordinary, that the AFL has relegated us to the crappy times, which is
fair. That's how it works. That's okay. Old enemy at the MCG, Essendon Hawthorn. Pryor and Kako, make their Essington debut. Hawthorn have one change, which was Josh Ward in for Warple, who hurt himself last week. So we'll cover the team in a second. I just wanted to point out, last time we met, it will be almost a year to the day. So we played them on the 14th of March. Last time we played them was on the 16th of March. Last year on a sunny, bloody hot Saturday afternoon. And it took us a long time, but eventually we got over the top of them and won by 24 points. Mm-hmm. And I'm about to highlight how different an Essendon side it was, but I also want to point out the bleedingly obvious, and that is that was a very different Hawthorn side to the one that finished season 2024. So for us, the outs from last year to this year: Heppel, Cox, Setterfield, Guelphy, Stringer, Wright, Goldstein, Menzies, Kelly. That's 9 out. Funnily enough, there'll be 9 in too. Income.
It's funny how maths works.
Yeah, it is. Income: Ridley, Pryor, Archie Roberts, Nate Caddy, Draper, Bryan, Sardis, Shield, and Hobbs. So an entire change. Thank God. I think me and you would both have thrown hands if Goldstein played.
Well, I would have written letters. I don't like to write a letter, and I'm old.
So whilst completely acknowledging that this is a far, far different Hawthorn side to that, good opportunity to point out this is a pretty big different Essendon side. Nearly half the team.
Great point. Yeah.
I mean, it's not nearly half the team, but 9 out of 23.
It's not a mile. Yeah, it's a percentage.
It's pretty big. So, in my humble opinion, probably better now.
Yes.
Ridley, Draper, Bryan, just as a start. Caddy, on form at least, is an upgrade on Wright. Pryor is an upgrade on Kelly. Shield, Heppel, you could argue, I guess, depending on the day with Heps, I suppose. But
I think too, when you look at a lot of those players that are out, there are a lot of the old guard, a lot of the guys that were sort of coming towards the end of the career. Heppel, Setterfield's still playing for us, but Goldstein, Stringer, I still think Stringer's probably on his last few years, and Kelly. So whereas the guys that are coming in, Hobbs, Caddy and Pryor and Roberts, they're all trying to start a career. So that can make a big difference too to players and a culture at a club. Because young kids obviously want to be successful. They want to win. So those old dogs are a bit. Yeah.
And it's so much better to watch though. I'd much rather watch that than these old guys that we were never winning a premiership with. Let's be real. Even if Heppel had played,
I'm not even sure if we're winning a premiership with this team.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but we can hope. Whereas with Heppel, even if he'd played on another 2 years, Kelly, same thing. We're not winning a flag that soon. So,
Now, did you notice with just a quick little fact? Do you remember Michael Pryor played for Essendon?
I do not recall. What time frame are we talking?
2000s, I reckon, 90s through to 2000.
Okay.
He was, I saw a bit of the Essendon when Scott was announcing the 2 new debutants for Essendon, in Kako and Pryor, and he said, we wanted, Kaki. We wanted Pryor, but we couldn't get him through the father-son because his old man only played 81 games with us. I went, Pryor? I remember a Pryor from it was Michael Pryor, who was small, I reckon, half-backer, maybe wingman, something like that.
So I've just consulted Google. He played for Essendon between 1994 and 2000. Went to West Coast in 2001 and 2002.
Yes, I did too. Yes, I remember that. Yep.
Played 81 games with Essendon.
About right, yep.
And didn't kick a lot of goals. So, yeah, sort of to your point about being a half-back, I suggest.
A very bad forward.
Featured as late as round 22 in 2000, but didn't feature in the final series. In 99, played in the qualifier and prelim. So
he's a handy little player.
It's one of those things.
80 games of football is not a bad football.
No, it's high, above average.
Yep.
This is what I love about this, me and you, is that you've got that older generational knowledge. And I don't mean to say older in the negative sense. I just mean that 80s and 90s,
80s and 90s,
you're there, whereas me, I'm a bit too young. I don't feel young, but I am to remember that.
Whereas I drank a lot in the 2000s, so that's where you come in for me.
My football watching life really started in like 2009s when I got really into it. So,
Yes.
yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. Good
anyway,
one.
just a little
Good
fact.
little factoid. I like it. Love a good factoid. Now, if you are here and listening to us, drop some tips in the comments, please. Who's going to win? How much? Who's going to kick the goals? Who's going to be best on? You know, all of that. Razzmatazz. Any outlandish opinions? We're going to win by 30 goals and Kako kicks 10, you know, whatever. Just get among it.
Love it.
It's a live stream, so I don't want it to be too stressful. You can be a bit casual. We can read your comments. You know, it's just a YouTube thing at the end of the day. It's not going anywhere else. So get involved.
Well, what do you think of the team?
I like it. There's probably only
Can I-
one name I was hoping to see, and that was Hayes. But I get that
yes,
might
yes.
have been a bit too tall.
Yeah, fair enough.
You? What about you? I mean, I'm assuming that's why you're asking me.
No, well, I was trying to hope that you might have said, well, we did a few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, we did a little
You set me
best
up.
22. We don't like to call it that. We call it
The not best 22.
Not best
Which,
22.
can I just jump in? Sorry, I was listening
go
to that
ahead.
on the train to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
this morning. Our best 22 for 22.
Mm.
And oh my God, one, we've come a long way. Two,
You and I, you mean?
yeah. Two, the amount of jokes we made about 22 in 22 and the fact we could do a 23 in 23 and a 26 in 26 if we included emergencies. We've done none of it.
Oh, I don't remember any of those jokes. That's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Well,
classic comedy.
what I was saying that so we were about one player off really. So we had we had Hobbs was the one we had didn't have him in because we'd picked Parrish, thinking well again we did the wrong thing where we believed the
weren't
Essendon
sure.
medical team where. We'd seen him interviewed. We saw Parrish interviewed in the preseason. So I've had a good preseason, got a bit of a sore back, and then all of a sudden the sore back was always a bit. You know, he might not play in the practice games, but should be right for round one. That's what we all heard.
And then it was like, oh, he has to change his entire running style.
Now he's changing his whole running style. I'm like,
Where'd that come from?
how do we go from? He's a little bit sore in the back. Probably play round one, just a couple of practice games. Now he has to run up on his head. You know, everything's wrong.
It is incredibly Essendon. That.
We got that one wrong, which
We did.
I'll take.
Look, I think if you're doing a best 22 or 23 and you get one or two wrong, I think you're doing pretty well. There's no surprises in this, that being said. I mean, Sardis and Hobbs before pre-season you would have not really picked probably. But given the output, particularly Sardis, but then Hobbs was very good in that game against Geelong.
Yep. Well, both of them, yeah.
There's not really much else. I mean, I like the emergencies, not Menzies so much, but Al Hawley and Tom Edwards are the emergencies. So that's pretty impressive from Edwards, really, to be an emergency when you weren't even on the list a month ago.
No, yeah. I mean, if he excited to see how he goes in the VFL. I'm not sure. We probably should know a bit more about our VFL games coming up.
It's still only practice matches. They don't start for a few weeks. So.
Why doesn't it just start at the same bloody time?
I could be wrong, actually. I don't even know.
Yeah. I'm getting angry. But you're right. I'm excited to see him playing a VFL game and love to see him push for seniors. But, you know, who would you be kicking out at the moment? So,
well, I mean,
injuries, but...
he's got to really wait for a Caddy or a Langford. That's the spot. Or Jones. I mean,
Caddy,
Jones has named it. But, I mean, if they're injured, I'm not suggesting that you drop them or anything. I'm just saying if there's a spot vacant because of those.
Yep.
Jones is named in the forward pocket. Whether he plays there will be another question.
Well,
it is a bit weird that Archie Roberts is named on the wing.
Yeah, Jones is named in forward pocket. Archie Roberts is named on a wing. I mean, you could. I'm not necessarily saying you swap those two around, but we do seem to have gone in with an extra defender, which is interesting because we've got Shield on the bench, who's obviously his role is to play as defender, and Roberts. I'm going to struggle with those two Archies, aren't I? Roberts on the wing, so who I saw more as a defender, but maybe they're going to push him to a wing. I don't know. So,
can I just read a comment, if that's all right?
Yeah, go.
Just jump in. Riser, one of the helpful individuals that pointed out no one could hear me.
Yep.
Listening from Singapore.
Wowzers.
Can we
What
just
time
say
is it in
now
Singapore
we're
right now?
worldwide now?
Oh, we're
Huge.
grateful. Worldwide.
It'd be about Perth time, wouldn't it? Because of
I
the
guess.
sort
Where
of
are they
outage.
over there? Yeah, I
Maybe
guess
4 or
so.
5 hours behind. Should be doing some work there, Riser. Coming back for the match tomorrow. Just hope we are competitive and don't
What?
get injured.
He's coming back for the match tomorrow.
Yep, I hope your flights are on time. Yep.
I don't know what life is he leading. It's a much better version than mine.
We're looking for sponsors. Not really. Cool. Look, that's fascinating. I do find it. We did a deep dive into our demographics the other day of the age groups and the gender and where people are from that are listening. It's really cool. For what it's worth, 3% of our listeners are women. So I found that quite hilarious.
We'll work on that. Are you going to the game?
No, I'm not. It's an away game, and I have my.
I see it's sold out. Well, what's the term?
Fully ticketed.
Yeah.
So you don't get in with the general admission.
Yeah, so I know I wasn't going to go either because, I thought that would happen, but I'll save it up for the next game.
You save it. Right. He says, I'm on holidays. Haha, I'm broke.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you could be broken not on holidays. That's
Broke,
that's
I think
another
a
option.
definition of broke might be a little loose compared to ours, but anyway.
I'm rich with
you,
friendship.
buddy. Yep.
Nah, not really.
I'm just jealous. That's all.
Same.
Same.
I literally was watching a Singapore plane take off yesterday going, I wish I could be on that plane.
Let's
going
not get
away.
into this plane scene.
No, we're not.
Mm.
You're so mean.
So mean. What do you think? So we're taking what we watched from Hawthorn last week. A couple of things. Where were their strengths? Number one, clearances and ruck.
Yes.
I know I asked a question.
You did ask a question and answer. That was a bit confusing, but I understand what happened now.
What were their strengths?
All I was going to say was I didn't think they were brilliant.
Oof.
I thought Sydney was a bit poo as opposed... They were very good. I'm not going to deny
Sydney
that
were a bit
they
poo.
were good in a lot of areas. But Sydney were pretty poo. So... Which I did call in a previous podcast, just so you know.
I still think they weren't bad. Like they went up to Sydney where they haven't won since
Great win.
2000. Yeah.
Great win, take nothing away, but they were very good in the middle, as you rightfully pointed out. Grundy was a bit poopy, but Lloyd Meek had a brilliant game, and their entire midfield.
Well, they got who's out?
Quite a good game.
Warple, was it?
Warple was injured at half time.
But he still looked pretty handy for him.
They were sloppy at times. I think that's going to happen more in the earlier rounds.
Of course, we'll be sloppy because
We'll be sloppy at different times.
This will be a real pressure as opposed to. I think the Geelong game was a good build up for us at least.
It's going to be quite warm tomorrow, about 28 down here, so shouldn't be too dewy or anything.
Yep, true.
I think there's two schools of thought with Hawthorn. They're going to win the flag, or they can't back it up, and they won't play finals.
Win the flag, but
that's where the two. If I was
understand.
going to generalise, that's the two schools of thought.
They're odds on favourite, aren't they? The most.
They were favourite after last week. I don't know if that's remained.
Yeah, that's still pretty amazing. But okay, so how do we deal with the problem I have with them is they're small forwards. Like for example, with Moore, Ginnivan, what's his name? The Wizard or Watson, yeah. And then, I was surprised to see Mabior Chol was 200 centimetres when I looked him up. I really had him pegged at 191. Yeah, he looks like he's very mobile for a 200 centimetre guy. So I'm just wondering how do you think McGrath, it's going to be? Well, probably not Pryor. I don't know. So who will it be? McGrath, Redmond? Shield?
Well, I think Redmond would be maybe given that bit of a license. McGrath and Pryor probably work. I think that's probably one of the more concerning things about Hawthorn last week is they won, and Ginnivan and Watson were awful.
Bullshit. Yep.
So, if you're going to look at their team and go, where can they be a bit better? That's a pretty glaringly obvious part of the ground.
And on that, then the other part that worried me was the fact that Day kicked 3, I think, and the other midfielder Newcomb, I think he kicked 3 as well. So
they do like their goals
how
from the
defense, middle. Maybe that's why we've picked an extra defender is because they're sending their midfielders in there to push that defense. So I'm curious to see how we go with that. I think that's where the game will be won and lost.
What concerns me And I don't know if you recall the game last year, last week,
can't
to
remember
any
shit from
details.
that far
So
back.
it was the real beginning of that. Holy shit, we're getting cut open. The transition from our attack, the opposing defence, to their attack. And Hawthorn really cut us open for a lot of that game, but just didn't have the finishing skills. I don't recall whether Watson played, but Ginnivan certainly did. I remember him.
I do remember him.
So guys like D'Ambrosio, which hurt me for different reasons. He last week, one of my highlights that I can still remember from that game was the kick into Meek, I think it was. Under the pump, just a beautiful, beautiful hit. Yep. But I think that's pretty typical of how they do it. They're not giving away the ball. They're patient with it until they can find a target, and they've got the skills by foot to do that. So your Will Day, Will Day, classy. Newcomb's classy. They've got classy players that can hit a target over 40, 50 metres.
I do think on that Meek situation that Brian and Draper should be able to deal with him pretty well. Draper will love that rough and tough stuff. I think he looks for that. And between the two of them, they should be able to run him out around the ground. I know Chol will come in as the backup, but they should be able to deal with him too. If
you were going to look at that last week, though, you would have said Grundy's a pretty good matchup for him.
You're right, but Grundy's... Something's happened in the last year or two to Grundy. How he used to be like an extra midfielder and get used around the ground a lot. But I watched that game, not all of it, but there was one moment where a Sydney player had the ball, can't remember who it was, and it's like they looked at Grundy for a handball and went, nah, and gave it to someone else who was in a worse position, and that person got tackled. And I went... I don't want to use him. Like Collingwood used him, like he'd be a marking midfielder, get the ball and then kick it on or handball it on. So he had really high stats. Sydney are not doing that with him, so he's left to just be a ruckman. And as a ruckman, he never was a great ruckman. He was just that massive unit around the ground.
The value was the extra midfielder.
Yeah,
you got out of him. Yeah. Just a couple more comments. AJ's living in Manila.
Oh yeah,
in the Philippines. It's very cool.
Yep.
And
they had the thriller there.
Now, I reckon DV8R Assassin is Phil. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Duzza will go head-to-head with Day and give him a bath.
Well, that's a great matchup, and I like that suggestion because we need to... the other one I would probably be thinking about is Caldwell, like him to go to someone like that, and maybe that's more of the bigger unit in what's his name, Newcomb. Maybe that sort of suits him a bit more. So
if I was going to pick one for Day, though, it would be Durham because Day's quite a big midfielder. Like he's a taller mid.
Well, his marks above his head really well, so Durham Stars can deal with that, or Stars can go the other way and try and make him defend because Stars, as we know, can kick goals. So Stars great point.
Yeah, it is Phil. Hi, Phil.
If it is,
it is. Just said it is.
Oh,
hope life down there. Tassie's treating you well.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah, right. So, I guess the glaring question here: can we win?
Why are we so good looking? Oh,
speak for yourself. There, I think.
It
just occurred to me I'm not wearing my hat, so my glorious hair is out for everyone to see. Can we win a game of football? This game of football?
No.
Wow. Right. Well, I mean, that was a waste of everyone's time, wasn't it? Yeah. 24 minutes down the drain.
Oh, well, it's going to be very hard.
Because, can I just point out here, sorry, you were very much on the thought that Hawthorn wouldn't back it up.
Yes. But then I watched them against Sydney and I probably have a slightly different view, and I still think that, I don't know. I should really answer that I don't know.
Of course we don't know.
Yeah. I guess from a mental health perspective, it's better for me to sell myself it's a no. And if it's a yes, yay! If it's a yes and it's a no, then it's a...
So just another comment.
I think we all do a bit of that, don't we?
Yeah, of course we do. Another comment here from Brad. I think their backline is slow. If we can exploit that, we can win. Yeah, not the
Barras.
worst. Barras,
Yeah,
Battle. I mean, Scrimshaw.
I'm sure.
The other geezer, who I think was sub last week, might be again. Sam
That
Frost.
Weddle runs out of there a bit, and he does.
Weddle is very lizard-like.
Yeah, and he kicks the ball well too.
From that mob. Sydney. What's his name? Blakey.
Yeah, lizard.
Lizard, yeah. Did you see the lizards in the crowd last week? I thought that was great.
Oh yes, I did see that.
It's good. Just fully grown men dressed as lizards. So good.
Yep. Fascinating.
I think we do have probably a bit more pace, but it's not the be all and end all. I think the foot skills is what's really going to matter, because I feel like that's the way we've gone. Forward handball and skill by foot. I think you pointed out to me about Port Adelaide that in one of their practice matches, they just did not want to give the ball up.
Yep.
They would go backwards, sideways, whatever, until they could hit a target inside 50. They just weren't bombing the ball.
They just didn't want to put it to a contest. They were just like, no, let's just be patient. It was really interesting to watch.
Yes.
Well, the question I'll have
saying
too is that where we could win it is our forward line, because you look at their back line, and I know they got Barras and Battle. Well, they're both new, I think, aren't they? But and Tom Barras is a very good football player. Nothing wrong. He's a good intercept marking, but is he good enough to deal with Sam Draper by himself? And then who's going to have Caddy with that reach and length? Wouldn't have minded Peter Wright, to be honest, just to really stretch them for height down there. But I understand he's not the flavour of them.
I mean, he's injured anyway.
Yes.
So it's moot.
And and I also like that through the pre-season how Sam Durham, when he went forward, what he did with his marking capability. So what I'm trying to say is that I hope that we have enough pressure on them that they're forced to us to send Sick Dog down there to deal with a bit of that, then have everything going so right for them that Sick Dog goes forward and we're dealing with him up the other end, because he'll be
Sick
a
Dog's
big
named on the
influence.
wing.
Well, yeah, he probably might play somewhere half back, who knows, but he could have a big influence in the game for them, I think. So
I think we have the height to stretch them, definitely. When you think Draper's named at full forward, so he's going to start there. Harry Jones, Nate Caddy, and Langford. Now, one of my most simple views on football is, too tall. It's great to have talls, but once the ball hits the ground, you're screwed. But we now have a man named Isaac Kako, who can actually, he has kicked 4 goals against Geelong, who can at least, at the very least, put some pressure on once the ball hits the ground. It's a bit of speed. It's a bit of someone that the Hawthorn defenders will be worried about. I don't care that it's his first game. They're going to have to think about him.
Yeah. Well, I would argue too that if Perkins plays the way he did against Geelong and Durham play, that I think they can also bring a lot more of that too than I don't want to say than Stringer did, but I think they'll bring more of that chase and pressure than we have had before.
Yes, which is...
Even, we'll throw in Gresham there in that game against Geelong. There was a couple of moments.
He did win a few free kicks, you're right, yes.
He ran down, he did some pressure, and he caused, some free kicks to go our way. So I think that's going to be a really important part. It's going to be how much pressure we can put on them to get the ball back in awkward positions, because we've just talked about how I think they'll be really keen to hold the ball.
Yes. And the other exciting things here, I mean, Sardis, I really hope just to see him in the guts. He's named on the bench, so we won't see it immediately, but I hope to see him in the guts. Hobbs,
I think we will.
Had a really good game against Geelong, particularly, so it'd be good to see what they do with him. I'm not sure what they do with him, to be completely honest.
I think he has to play in the midfield. He has to be another rotation, and it has to go down to the fact that, like we've talked about, that Merritt might be used a little bit more as a half back or half forward, and Hobbs has to come in. We have to get development into these kids. No good playing with half forward anymore.
And it is the first time we have a back line that it consists of, comprised of, Ben Mackay, Jordan Ridley, and Zach Reid.
Have it been the first time they all
They can't possibly have, because Ben Mackay played his first game against Hawthorn for Essendon against Hawthorn last year. Zach Reid played that game and played half, and Ridley did not play.
Okay, yes, you're true.
So it is the first time we have all those three in a back line. It takes the pressure so much off McGrath, Bredman, and Pryor in that situation, and the rest of the defence when you've got just two good tools. And I know Ridley's tall, but he's a bit more flexible.
Yeah, that's right.
I really like that role. Same with Langford. It's that third tall. You don't get the good defenders. You don't get the good forwards. You can do a bit more.
Yep, a good fantasy player. And then I guess I see the third A is out. They've got the hip.
Yes, hip.
2-week injured. Yeah, hip.
Someone at the club must listen.
Because we were a bit confused. We had
We
not
were.
heard anything. We had to
very
dig
confused.
deep to find something going on.
Even my friend who went to school.
I really wish clubs were just a bit more honest about injuries.
Did you see? So, Goulden,
Yeah,
for our draft and all that, I was looking at the injury list because I didn't want to make a stupid decision.
yeah, no, fair
Goulden
enough.
was listed as 5+ weeks, and I thought the mail from Sydney was that we won't know until he's had his scans and whatnot. So I expected the update this week to be the amount of time. No, it's just now 4+ weeks.
You don't come back from a broken ankle
No,
in 4+ weeks. I get that's 30 weeks.
Just
Who
say
knows
10
what-
weeks. Like, just say 10 and be done with it.
Well, just put indefinite because it's ankle broken indefinite. We're not sure.
So, young Phil, who has just turned 40, happy birthday, Phil,
Oh, well done.
has
Well,
said,
40.
I feel like this is 22 of our best 23.
Yeah.
With, I guess, Parrish being the one.
Yep. I'd agree with that.
Do you think? Yeah, I was going to say that's what the question was. Do you think that this is close to the best we're going to get in terms
great
of
comment from Phil.
names on paper?
Why doesn't Phil just run this podcast?
Look, I've thought about it. I've thought about trading you out.
I was thinking, Phil, can you do any IT stuff? Phil, how are you with sound
Hey,
and
Yeah, not muting yourself at the start of
You're
the
muting
live
yourself.
stream. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not very good at that, Phil. So if you can do that, are you muting me?
Me? No, why would I mute you?
Oh, I thought you were.
That would have been funny, actually. But no, I'm not.
Because I saw the little mute thing pop up. Is he muting me?
Where?
Yeah, look, you would have to agree with that because yes, Parrish goes in, probably for Hobbs. After
Shall-
that, I mean, I still like Peter Wright. You don't. That's okay.
Let's not put words in each other's mouths. Don't
not put anything
make a
in.
joke. I knew that was coming. Pardon the pun. Shall well, you just mentioned Phil, and I'm gonna. Sorry, Phil. Maybe not quite put you on the spot here, but
Go.
for 2025, we want to get involved a bit more with the Essendon community. Now, I'm not going to give too much away straight away. We do have an interview lined up with a fan. We're not interested in players. We've never been interested in players. But we're going to talk to a well-known supporter of the Essendon Football Club, and maybe Phil's one that we can get on, Nathan.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Sorry, Phil.
I think we should. I think it's a great sort of place for people like that. Would you have them on a preview or a review?
Well, I mean, we're getting a bit too much in technicals here, but I think the one we have semi-lined up, I was going to tie into a review, sorry. I find it fascinating to know what stories you have about how you became an Essendon supporter, what made you go for Essendon, what gave you the passion, because, if you're listening to us, you're probably pretty into it.
You're a bit
You're
sad.
not just going to be a semi, what do they call it?
Semi.
That wasn't the word. Just a week in, week out, I might watch it if it's on, or if I'm busy, I won't. If you listen to us, you're probably watching it every week.
Yep.
So, what gave you that passion? So, yeah, stay tuned.
Do you want me to ask you those questions?
No, God, no. No one cares about me. But
Okay.
I would find it fascinating to listen to other people speak about that. So, and also, Phil said that Hobbs is harsh. Probably Roberts is the 20.
Oh, yeah. That's a fair
Fourth.
point. I guess I was thinking of like the likes, that's all. Whereas Roberts, I still sort of picture Roberts maybe as a defender, but, I don't know.
Heppel regen.
Yeah, he wears the Heppel number, doesn't he, now?
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, that's probably a fair comment too. But, well, it is. I don't know if I feel better or worse knowing now that this is basically our best team.
Oh, worse. So much worse. I think
Now I'm really worried about the game.
There's-
Like,
I was talking about this today. Our dear friend Chrissy, who messaged me, I don't know if he messaged
Yep.
you or if he just likes me better.
Chrissy.
Chris.
Chris.
Oh, the football started. Oh.
Yeah,
He just mentioned that Richmond were $10.50 in a 2-horse race, and
We love our 2-horse race joke.
oh,
that used to piss you off so much.
it still does. I saw that message come through
thinking
and
you were okay.
rolled my eyes. I forget what I was even going to say with that. So
Chrissy, you got
Oh,
excited when you...
Richmond have no pressure. Richmond can
Oh,
go
good
out
form.
tonight and get beaten by 10 goals, and we'd all sit there and go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're probably right.
that's
I think that as a club, though, as players, as
it would
individuals,
suck.
they'd want to.
But
wanna put in some
expectation is the worst thing in football. I'm not expecting to win this game. I think Hawthorn should be better than us. And
Well, just yeah.
I like to classify these into should wins and should lose. This is a should lose, realistically. So
Can I
anything
ask
we
what
get
the
out
odds
of it-
are?
Yeah,
out of
we're about
curiosity.
$3. So
What are they?
$1.20, $1.30, $1. Essington $3.40 to Hawthorn $1.32.
Okay, yeah, we're long outside. It's like
Yeah, we're
that's
responsible.
in a 2-horse race. That is not us getting anywhere near it.
All right, I'm out. See you later.
Boom, got another one in.
You suck. Anyway, Brad's tipped the Tigers to lose by 80. Yeah, I tipped Carlton by 60. So
I'm at 44. I must be
you.
obviously.
with you on that. And Phil said, "Don't stress, Nath. We're betting the Hawks. Our backline destroys their forwards easily. ... I hope."
I do agree with that. I think that's where I see the victory for us is there, and then it's the battle of the midfields, and it's guys like Sardis who, oh God, I hope he plays really well. Just for him, not for us, but just for know, he's a pick 5 from 3 years, whatever it is now ago, and I hope we haven't stuffed it up. Like, I hope he's genuinely a good football player. Like, because I want that for the club. Like, I don't want to pick guys at 5 and they turn into a bit of a nyeh.
Yeah, he's been given the number 5, so
Yeah. So there's
clearly
obviously
he's got a
around
bit
the
of
club.
something. Yeah.
So from him and the future of us, I really hope he is a player. And then
Well,
if
he is a player.
and the rest of it, I have a bit of confidence in the guys that are playing. Like I really think Draper and Brian will do a good job.
So
Stuz, and all that sort of the back line. I think if we can get them, like if Zach Reed plays the whole damn game, that's exciting because him and Kai and Ridley, like that could be the Premiership 6, back there.
that is a big switch around from a guy who just said we can't win.
Oh, that's the difference. I think that Reed and Ridley and Mackay are players with the potential to be all Australians.
If
Ridley's already done it. Mackay probably a little bit less, but I think Reed could be he's like a Harris Andrews, like really. Well, I hope he could be like a Harris Andrews, who's an all Australian.
what's Chris Fagan's favourite player at Brisbane?
Is he? He's was captain, wasn't he?
Saw a little snippet. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mars31 said, "What about Cox?"
What about Cox?
Took a bit too long to get to the X then. I'm not sure what you mean, Muzz. Do you mean in the best 22? Do you just mean in general? Just clarify that and we'll talk about it. Scott hasn't had a loss as a coach of Essendon when he's had a debutant playing.
The Christ.
Right, debutant every week. Thanks, Phil. That's good. That's Phil again.
Again, Phil,
You're in trouble.
You need to kick Sam out. Oh,
Sorry, why am I? This is my baby. This is my child. You're just here because I need
you're not
someone to
bringing
talk
stats
to.
like that.
No, I'm not. If I saw it on Twitter, I might.
Well, that's where you get your information from. Is he a
Usually.
footballer?
Oh, you're looking at the chat now too.
I just had a look because you kept talking.
Such a dick.
I don't know about Cox. There's moments when you see something, you go, "Oh yeah." Yeah, I don't mean
At
to
this
do
point, if he continues to have these concussion issues, it's
Well-
going to come a point where it's just like, yeah, sorry, bro, just walk away.
Well, just forget the concussion issues, and let's just go with what
had
we've
skill.
seen from him.
He had talent, for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, between him, Reid, and Perkins, who were that infamous three,
Yep.
Perkins has played a lot of football. There's nothing that I've seen from Perkins that's going to say generational player or
Nope.
brilliant or anything like that. Reid just hasn't got minutes on the park. So it's not like he's
At
a
the moment,
mile
those-
behind anyone.
So what you're saying at the moment, those three picks, which were I think like 7, 8, 9 or 6, 7, 8, whatever it was,
Yep.
that we've got.
Which
One
was-
guy's played 11 games. One guy's got concussion issues and could be out of football forever, and the other guy.
Perkins has played
yeah,
a lot of football for a guy
He's
that
played
age.
close to 100 games, I
Yeah,
reckon.
yeah.
And you're saying he's no generation, not even. So again, this is why that Sardis thing is so much pressure on that. Because if we got those 3 wrongs, got Sardis wrong, and I don't think Hobbs is a superstar. I think he could be a good player.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what we've done over the last 5 years.
It's very hard to tell. Cox being the 2 meters tall, he's a hard one to pick. But first and foremost, he's got to not have concussion issues.
Yeah.
Because that sort of shit lasts you a lifetime.
That's right. And you don't want to just keep coming back.
Football is just not that important.
Nope.
If you've got those issues. So
that's right. And if he plays the game, gets another knock, and then he's out for another 6 months, well, then the club has to go, well, we can't have that. That we have to make the big boy decision and say,
Phil is just putting both of us to shame.
What?
Honestly. When Cox first played, they said he was a unicorn. Sadly, I feel like his career is as absent as the mythical creature itself.
Oh,
poetic.
Beautiful. You're right though. We had so much hope in this 200 centimeter wingman who
could play anywhere
on both feet. Yeah, he could mark.
2 meters
tall
tall.
And blah.
I remember his first game against St Kilda. He did that lovely little fake step. Dummy. In that moment, I was like, right, go.
Yeah.
How it changes.
And that's the thing about the concussion thing can ruin all that because it's had to happen to so many other great players. But if that's not an issue, say if if they're lying to us like they do, and he just comes back and plays 100, 250 games or whatever, and then he could be a really, really good football player. It's just, we don't know until more time passes.
That's right, we do not know. Anything else before we wrap up? Because I think we've been on 40 minutes.
That's how we won't wind out after my bladder lasts about that long.
Yes, and you can't leave me alone. I go to shit if I'm here talking to myself.
Well, that's true. Yes, you do get very nervous.
I do. I don't know why. I'm fine when I'm talking to you. Yeah, you had to dip halfway through a live stream because your bladder is tiny and inconvenient.
Like a small child.
Yep.
Yeah, no, all good. I'm just nervous, anxious. I think I'll struggle to finish a few beers. I don't know if that'll make me better or worse. So, yeah.
Knock a few back, get a bit sweary.
If we win, there'll be a few happening after it. If we
Well,
lose, there'll probably be more.
You and I will be watching it
Yep.
in this arrangement, I presume.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Get ready for the uncontrollable testosterone. Yep.
I will try and keep it down.
I hate these bloody QB things. I can't put them together. I struggle so much.
Children put them
I'm
together.
trying to put it together.
Jesus Christ.
My child is 5 and does not have the dexterity. I'm 31 and I don't
fold
have
them
the
over
fucking
like
dexterity.
that, and you just basically go.
Yeah, I know, but some of them are a bit funny and they don't stick together. Anyway, this is gripping stuff. Phil says Essendon by 21. He actually says Bombers by 21. What do you think? Give us a tip. Come on. Read the room.
Look, if what?
Read the room.
Bombers by 66 points.
Whoa, I'm going to clip that and put it on TikTok.
Okay, no, I'd realistically go Bombers by 2 goals.
I did it.
Oh, well done.
Realistically, so from me... Okay, I'm not going to put
Well, you said read the frickin' room. I gave you the read the room answer.
It just broke. I'll say Hawthorn. No, Essendon by 2 points.
You wouldn't want to.
Essendon by 2 points. Let's get a bit excited. It's round 1. We won't have the negativity slip in just yet.
That's round 2.
Yes, that is round 2.
Oh, if we beat them, who do we play after that?
Adelaide.
At the MCG.
At the G
we beat them.
Yeah. Let's not get carried away. One at a time. 1 week at a time. It's the worst and most commonly used cliche in football.
I really wish we'd played against the Gold Coast. I wish that game had happened so I had, some sort of inkling of where we're at. I feel so much better having watched us play last week.
But it would have been the same last week. We wouldn't have known. It would have been the same feeling just a week.
Yeah, but this week would be better. I'd be like, oh, yeah, we were really good last week. I think we could probably beat them. Well, we were really shit last week. We're going to get flogged. Something.
Phil's called you Big Fat Predictable.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's been fair.
Not just predictable.
Big fat's a bit harsh, Sam.
The predictable is big and fat, not you. I knew Nath was going to say Bombers by 12. He always does.
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to? And then the 1 week you didn't, we won by 12.
Oh.
Last year.
So that means we're not winning by 12 this week.
No, absolutely not. Something in that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Will that do us? Are you,
Yep.
You're all done? All
I'm
silent.
cooked.
Going once. All right, very good. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do this throughout the year. It's not going to be a weekly thing by any stretch. We'll have a preview out for you. A review out for you on Sunday night where
Until
I will
you
be.
feel you could do this job.
Where I will be not muted. I won't be muted. For God's sake. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your company. Thanks, Phil. Thanks, everyone, for getting in the comments. Fuck you, Nathan. Brad says, good session, guys. My therapy is done. So,
Yeah, it was good for me too.
cop that.
Thanks, Sam.
Go Dons.
Go Bombers!
Done. That's fun.